Hermès Birkin bag can cost more than a house. Some sell for over $500,000 at auction. They appreciate faster than gold, outperform the stock market, and unlike almost any other product on earth, they're nearly impossible to buy. Even if you have the money, Hermes will likely refuse to sell you one. And behind this madness is one of the most genius business strategies ever created. Let me explain. The story begins in 1981 on an Air France flight from Paris to London. British actress Jane Birkin was traveling with her young daughter, carrying a wicker basket overflowing with baby bottles, diapers, and scripts. As she tried to stuff it into the overhead compartment, the basket tipped over, spilling its contents everywhere. The man sitting next to her watched this chaos unfold. Jane complained aloud about how impossible it was to find a practical handbag large enough for a mother's daily needs. The man replied, "You should have one with pockets." Jane shot back, "The day Hermes makes one with pockets, I'll buy it." The man smiled and said, "But I am Hermes." His name was Jean-Louis Dumas, CEO of Hermes. Right there on that flight, he sketched out a design on an airplane sick bag, a spacious rectangular bag with burnished flaps and saddle stitching, even a dedicated space for baby bottles. In 1984, Hermes gifted Jane the prototype, and the Birkin bag was born. But here's where things get weird. That original Birkin Jane owned, she used it daily for nearly a decade, covering it in stickers, hanging charms off the handles, treating it like an everyday bag. Jane eventually donated it to charity in 1994. That same bag sold at auction in 2025 for over $10 million, making it the most expensive handbag ever sold. Today, a basic Birkin starts around $12,000. But unlike literally any other product you can think of, you can't just walk into a Hermes store and buy one. You can't order one online. You can't even put your name on a waiting list. So how do you actually get a Birkin? Well, that's where Hermes's strategy gets absolutely brilliant. First, you need to build what's called a purchase profile. This means walking into Hermes boutiques repeatedly and spending thousands of dollars on other products, scarves, belts, shoes, jewelry, homeware. Experts estimate you need to spend $10,000 to $20,000 on these ancillary products before you're even considered, but not just any products. Sales associates can spot what's called Birkin bait from a mile away. If you only buy entry-level items like their logo belts or Oran sandals, they know you're just trying to game the system. You need to buy ready-to-wear clothing, fine jewelry, and spread your purchases across multiple categories to prove you're a true disciple of the brand. And even after spending tens of thousands, there's no guarantee. You then need to develop a personal relationship with a sales associate, exchange text messages, book private appointments, show that you genuinely love the brand's 188-year heritage and craftsmanship. One former Hermes employee described it as texting someone who's not interested in you, because sales associates deal with hundreds of messages from desperate customers. If you're lucky enough to be chosen, the sales associate will escort you into a private room. You'll be served champagne. Then, wearing white gloves, they'll bring out a single Birkin from the back. Maybe two if you're exceptionally fortunate. But here's the catch. You don't get to choose. You can't request a specific color, size, or leather. You get what they offer you, and you have to decide immediately whether to spend $12,000 to $30,000 on a bag that might not even be what you wanted. Oh, and Hermes has a quota system. Even the wealthiest, most loyal customers can only buy 2 quota bags per year. That's it. Victoria Beckham, who owns over 100 Birkins, still had to play this game. Kim Kardashian spent years buying other Hermes products before she was offered her first one. So why does any of this work? Why do people tolerate being treated this way? Because scarcity breeds desire, and Hermes has mastered artificial scarcity like no other brand. Each Birkin takes between 15 to 20 hours to craft by a single artisan. These craftspeople train for 5 years before they're allowed to make a Birkin. Every stitch is done by hand, using techniques from the 1800s when Hermes Hermes was making horse saddles. The artisan signs each bag personally. Hermes only produces an estimated 200,000 Birkins total in circulation worldwide, with maybe 12,000 made each year. But here's the genius part. This isn't just about luxury, it's about creating an investment vehicle disguised as a handbag. According to a study by Bag Hunter, Birkin bags delivered an average annual return of 14.2% over 35 years. Compare that to the S&P 500, which averaged 8.7%, or gold, which actually lost money at negative 1.5%. Some Birkins have doubled in value in just 5 years. In 2016, a Himalayan Niloticus crocodile Birkin with diamond hardware sold for over $300,000 at auction. In 2022, another sold for $400,000. The resale market is booming because people can't get them new. Platforms like The RealReal and Rebag treat Birkins as investment pieces with consistent appreciation and strong resale demand. This has created an entire ecosystem. About 25% of Birkin owners never even use their bags. They keep them in storage like Picasso paintings, letting them appreciate in value before flipping them years later for massive profits. The bags are stored in climate-controlled glass cases, insured for thousands per year, and treated like fine art. But not everyone's happy about this. In 2024, 2 California shoppers sued Hermes, claiming the company violated antitrust laws by tying Birkin sales to other purchases. One plaintiff had already spent tens of thousands at Hermes, but was told bags were only for customers who consistently support our business. Another tried multiple times to buy a Birkin and was repeatedly told he needed to purchase other items first. The lawsuit alleged that Hermes's commission structure proves the scheme. Sales associates earn 3% commission on ancillary products like scarves and shoes, 1.5% on regular handbags, and 0% on Birkins. They're literally incentivized to make you buy other stuff, not to sell you the bag you actually want. Legal experts were skeptical the case would succeed. Hermes argues they're selling their own trademarked product in a competitive luxury market. The judge dismissed the case, noting that reserving Birkins for highest-paying customers is not an antitrust violation. Meanwhile, Hermes's stock continues climbing. While other luxury brands like LVMH and Kering have struggled, Hermes keeps breaking records. The scarcity strategy works. By making Birkins nearly impossible to obtain, they've created perpetual demand. Every rejected customer becomes more determined. Every no makes the eventual yes feel like winning the lottery. Jane Birkin herself found the whole thing absurd. She owned only a handful of Birkins in her lifetime, covering them in stickers and charms, using them as everyday bags. She once joked to CNN that when she died, people would only remember her for the bag, not her acting or singing career. She was right. Love it or hate it, Hermes has turned scarcity into an art form. They've created a product that's simultaneously a fashion statement, a status symbol, and a financial investment. They've made you beg to give them your money. And unlike Ryanair, who cuts costs to the bone, Hermes does the opposite. Every stitch reinforces their heritage. Every rejection reinforces their exclusivity. Every impossibly high price reinforces their luxury. So if you're thinking about buying a Birkin, prepare to spend $50,000 plus on products you don't want, wait years for a bag you can't choose, and compete with billionaires and celebrities for the privilege. Or you could just buy one on the resale market for double the price. Either way, Hermes wins. That's the genius of it all. And speaking of genius business strategies, you know what company pioneered systematic efficiency that inspired countless others? Click the video now to find out. I'll see you there.